What is up, YouTube? Sorry, I'm adjusting the camera. Today, I'm bringing you an update for my PS2 collection, and yeah, I have about 137 games for my PS2 collection now, so it's going to take quite a bit of time to do all this, so let's just jump right into it and get started with my big box games first. So, the first thing that I have here is the Mortal Kombat Collection. And the Mortal Kombat Collection is just a compilation of Mortal Kombat Deception, Shaolin Monks, and Armageddon. They're just fighting games. So I'll put that off to the side. The next game I have is Dragon Quest VIII. And this is a turn-based RPG, classic, Square Enix RPG. Pretty good. That off the side. The next big box game I have is SOCOM US Navy SEALs. This is just a third-person shooter. Was very heavy emphasis on online at the time, so there's that. And then I also have King of Fighters Maximum Impact. This is the collector's edition big box version. It's a 3D fighting game with, sort of similar to Street Fighter. Alright, so now we'll move on to the rest of my games. These are all going to be complete in box except for one game. So, yeah, let's just get right into it. I'll just start off with this stack right here. So the first game I have is Destroy All Humans. This is an open world, kind of like mayhem game. It's really, really fun. I'll put it right there. Next I have Tekken Tag Tournament. This is a tag team fighting game in the Tekken franchise, one of my favorite franchises of all time. I also have Tekken's Nina Williams Death by Degrees. This is sort of like a third-person action story game in the Tekken universe. Pretty cool. I have iToy Play. This is just a bunch of, motion games for the iToy if you have one of those. I actually think that that's actually a really fun motion-based game. Next we have Ark the Lad End of Darkness. This is another JRPG, action JRPG. It had online at the time, but I don't really have a chance to play that now. Next we have Kingdom Hearts, classic JRPG, another action-based one, a little bit more cartoony with Disney characters. Next we have Kingdom Hearts 2, same deal as Kingdom Hearts 1, but, the sequel. Next we have RPG Maker 2. This is basically game designing software to create your own RPGs in the PS2. It's actually pretty comprehensive. Takes up an entire memory card though. So next is Namco Museum. This is, a collection of 4 arcade classics, Pac-Man, Dig Dug, Galaga, and games like that. Really, really good collection. I have it on the Game Boy Advance as well. Alright, next stack we have Ghost Recon Jungle Storm, a classic, I think it's a classic first-person shooter for PS2. Really good. Next we have Yu Yu Hakusho Ghost Files Dark Tournament. It's really, really bad. It's made by the same people as Budokai, but it's a terrible fighting game. Don't buy that one. Next we have Zatch Bell Mamoto Battles. This is actually a really fun 3D fighting game if you're a fan of Zatch Bell especially. Next we have Dark Cloud. Dark Cloud is a action RPG card, sort of similar in vein to Legend of Zelda. So if you like those games, you'll probably like that. Next we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Battle Nexus. It's a beat-em-up style, top-down Ninja Turtles game. Really, really fun. Next we have iToy Anti-Grav. Very disappointing motion surfing game. It's very bad. Don't buy that. Next, we have Capcom Classics Collections with 22 arcade games. Just some classic Capcom action. Pretty good. Next is a pretty popular RPG on the system, is Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, one of my personal favorites for the system. Then we have Kill Switch, which is a third-person shooter. Really good graphics for the time, I think. Let's grab this stack right here. These are in no particular order, if you haven't noticed. I'm just grabbing stacks and going. So next we have The Simpsons Skateboarding, literally the worst skateboarding game I have ever played, so don't play that. And I paid way too much for it when it was basically brand new. Next we have Star Wars Bounty Hunter. It's a game where you get to play as Jango Fett in a third-person shooting game. Pretty cool. Next we have Gran Turismo 3, a spec simulation racing game, you know, Gran Turismo. Next is the only game I don't have complete, and that is Half-Life. I've been looking for a complete copy of this. Haven't really come across one, but as you can see, you know, it is there. It's a classic first-person shooter. Next we have Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 2. Third-person, kind of like a horror action game. Really, really fun. I love the Soul Reaver games. I wish they would make another. Next, we have Star Ocean Till the End of Time. This is a really, really long and really, really pretty JRPG on the PS2. Like, it's very well done. If you like those turn-based JRPGs of the time, check that one out. Next, we have The Matrix Path of Neo. You basically just play the entire Matrix trilogy. Pretty cool, as Neo, obviously. Next, we have Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. A really, really fun 3D fighting game if you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z. I think it's one of the best Dragon Ball Z games there is. Next, we have Aliens vs. Predator Extinction. This is a RTS in the Aliens vs. Predator universe, and it's actually really, really good. Only problem is there is no 2-player, which kind of sucks. Let's move on to this stack. Alright, so next we have Shadow of the Colossus, a classic adventure game that I think is a necessity for any PS2 owner. Next is Dirge of Cerberus Final Fantasy VII. This is a third-person RPG/shooter where you play as Vincent Valentine in the Final Fantasy universe. Final Fantasy VII specifically. Next we have Motorstorm Arctic Edge. This is a PSP port, and it's actually, you know, plays very well if you like Motorstorm. It's the only one on PS2, so I actually find that pretty interesting. Next is Ratchet & Clank. This is a 3D platformer / adventure game. It's really, really fun if you're a fan of those games. Next is Goblin Commander Unleash the Horde, and yes, this is one of my worst condition games. I'm so happy EB Games isn't around anymore for this exact reason, because I can't. It's so hard to get their old stickers off. But anyways, it's an RTS. If you're a fan of RTS games, you might want to check that one out, because there's not many on the PS2. Next is Hypersonic Extreme. This is one of the games that made me want to get a PS2. This is basically like a F-Zero clone, but you get to design your own tracks, which is cool. Next, we have Final Fantasy X-2. Probably one of the weakest entries in the Final Fantasy franchise, and it's a sequel to Final Fantasy X. It's alright, but, you know, it's a JRPG, for those of you who don't know. Next, we have The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. This is a God of War-style action game where you play the Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers, which is really cool. Let's grab this stack, since this has some cool games in it, I think. Alright, so the next game is Xenosaga Episode 1, Der Wille zur Macht. And this is a 3D RPG, JRPG with mechs and stuff. It's really, really cool. I really need to get the other episodes though, so they're kind of hard to find, but happy to have that one. Next game I have is Dark Cloud 2. Now, unlike Dark Cloud 1, they kind of veered a little bit away, and this one's more of a traditional action RPG with more crafting elements rather than a Zelda style. So, different game, different style, but pretty cool. Next, I have Champions of Norath, and this is a really fun Diablo-esque game. I love them. I love Diablo-esque games, so I have a lot of them, but this is a really good one too. So check that one out if you're into those. Next, I have Rygar, the Legendary Adventure. This is a God of War style game, but you have like this cool shield weapon. It's very interesting. I had never heard of it up until I bought that. Next, I have Kingdom Hearts Re-Chain of Memories. This is a PSP port, I believe, but it's another sequel in the Kingdom Hearts franchise. Next, I have Tales of the Abyss. This is a JRPG with full anime cutscenes, and it's a turn-based, I think. I don't know. I haven't played that one a whole lot. Haven't played all of these games, obviously, because, there's a lot of them. But I have played quite a bit of them. Next, I have Tsugunai Atonement. This is a very different story-driven game. It's just really weird. It's an Atlas title, though, so definitely a different game there. Let's grab this stack. This is a smaller stack. Oh, need this one. All right. So this goes like this. All right. So next game I have is one of my favorites, Star Wars Battlefront. I am a huge Battlefront fan. Third-person Star Wars shooter game. Nothing else needed to be said. I love the Star Wars Battlefront series. Next is Cool Borders 2001. I am a big fan of the Cool Borders franchise as well. It's a snowboarding franchise. Really cool arcadey. Kind of like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Alright, so next I will go through, this is a rarer franchise, but I have them all kind of grouped together here. I have Dot Hack Part 1 Infection. This is an episodic game where it's like a JRPG. It's really, really cool. Kind of harder to find, but I'm really happy to have it in my collection. And then, obviously, you have Dot Hack Part 2, Mutation. Then we have Dot Hack Part 3, Outbreak. And Dot Hack Part 4, Quarantine, the final chapter. And the really cool thing that I want you guys to see, because not many games do this, but if you look on the side here, it makes kind of like a picture. Kind of cool. So, I have all those. Let's get this next stack. The next game I have is Mystic Heroes. I bought this pretty recently. I haven't had a chance to play a whole bunch of it. But it looks kind of like a action RPG. I don't remember playing this, but I test every one of my games, so I know it works. I don't remember playing it, though. Next game is Ico. Terrible cover art, by the way. But this is another classic game made by the people that made Shadow of the Colossus. Definitely one to own on the PS2. Next, I have Unlimited Saga, another JRPG. This one is more like, it's not very good, but it came with a demo of Final Fantasy X-2. Kind of cool. Next, I have Guitar Hero. I love the Guitar Hero games, the old ones. I don't like the new one that just came out, or is coming out. But yeah, really cool. I love the older Guitar Hero games. Next, I have Summoner. This is another RPG. Sorry, I had to remember what it was like, but it's another RPG, another fantasy setting made by THQ, though. Next is another RPG, Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. This is a side story to the Fellowship. Kind of cool. Worth checking out if you're a Lord of the Rings fan. Let's grab this stack. All right. So the next game I have, Jak 2. This is sort of like a story-driven adventure game. Really, really cool franchise if you're a fan of those kind of games. It's more cartoony, though. Next is The Simpsons Hit and Run. This is a Grand Theft Auto clone in the Simpsons universe. Kind of cool. Next is Oni. Now this is made by Rockstar, and it's kind of like an open world action adventure game. Very different. Something I didn't really ever expect to see, and we haven't seen with Rockstar ever again. Next is The Bouncer, which is a beat 'em up by Squaresoft, which is just very different, because normally they made a lot of RPGs, but this is a terrible condition game. But yeah, it's a beat 'em up. I wish I had that in better shape, but whatever. Next, I have Escape from Monkey Island. This is very different because it's a point-and-click adventure by LucasArts. This is a remake of one of their older games, so really, really cool. Next, I have Rogue Galaxy, which is sort of like a spacey yet fantasy RPG, which is really cool. I always love getting exclusive RPGs like this that are just weird and different. So I'll put that right there. Next, I have Baroque, and this is a kind of like, I guess this is a dungeon crawling RPG. I don't remember testing this one either, but yeah, got Baroque. It's hard to remember each individual game after a while. I'm pretty good at remembering a lot of them, but if I didn't play them for more than 10 minutes, which that's the minimum amount I play, I start to forget. But next is X-Men Legends. This is a Diablo-style X-Men game, which is very, very cool. I love Diablo-style games. I've said that before. Next is Gundam Federation vs. Zeon. This is basically like a retelling of the first Gundam series in a game form. Kind of cool. Next stack of games. Next I have Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. This follows the Fellowship of the Ring story, but it is kind of more resembling of the cartoon series. Next I have Tribes Aerial Assault, which is a very, very fun third-person shooting game. This campaign is basically just multiplayer with cutscene things. Next is Eternal Ring, which is a first-person Morrowind-esque RPG, but it's very bad. Don't buy that. I'll show you the back. Yeah, but it's very bad. Don't buy that. Made the mistake of that. Next is From Russia with Love. This is obviously a James Bond game. Very well done with, voice acting of actual Sean Connery in it. So that's kind of awesome. Next we have Enter the Matrix, which is a side story to the Matrix franchise, which is always really cool to see. Plays very similar to Path of Neo. Next are two of my only three sports games that are on this system, and that is FIFA Soccer 2004 and FIFA Street 2. I like soccer games, but I don't have very many. I don't really need that many. I just need those two, basically, and one other one that I'll get to later when we get there. Next, we have Sly Cooper, which is a 3D puzzle platformer. Very, very fun games. I'm running out of room. I'll just put that there. Next, we have Sakura Wars, which is another RPG. This one is by NIS America. They make very good anime RPGs, so got that one. I have the collector's edition of that, but I left the box back in my room. Next, I have Burnout Revenge, one of my favorite racing games. It's very arcadey, very fun. Next is my favorite Gundam game, and I did a review on this a very long time ago. Gundam Encounters in Space. This basically follows the third arc in the Gundam franchise, which is the strongest arc, in my opinion, in the original series. But very, very fun game. Highly recommend it. Lots of replay value. Next, we have X Games Skateboarding. Very good skateboarding game. You know, probably one of the best games at the time for skateboarding compared to Tony Hawk. It really holds up to that style. Next is The Mark of Cree, which is kind of like an action combo RPG. A lot of people like it. I'm not a fan. Next is Ape Escape 2. This is basically Catch Monkeys, the game. Very fun, though. I love that game. Next, we have Final Fantasy X. One of my favorite Final Fantasies ever. And it is obviously a JRPG. Next, we have Final Fantasy XII Collector's Edition. Awesome. Another JRPG, obviously. And then we have Starsky and Hutch. This is like a car driving game where you shoot out of it as well. It's not very good. I beat it, but it's not the best. Next game is Phantasy Star Universe. This is a third-person action game. I played a little bit of it. I'm guessing the online portion was its strong point, but the offline's okay. Next is The Bard's Tale, which is basically a parody RPG in the Diablo style, so I really, really enjoy that. Let's put that there. Next, let's get on to this stack. Alright, so then we have Snowblind. This is a first-person shooter, kind of futuristic. It's alright. Next we have Rainbow Six 3. First-person terrorist shooty game. It's okay. Next we have Genji Dawn of the Samurai. This is a third-person action RPG, JRPG, and it's very, very well done story-wise. It's the better in the franchise out of the two. Next we have Tekken 5, fighting game. Don't really need to explain that. Then we have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. Same, don't really need to explain that, but it's a very good skateboarding game. Then we have Twisted Metal Black. It's a very fun car mayhem arena game. Pretty awesome. I really like Twisted Metal. We have Zone of the Enders, one of the very few mech RPGs, and this one's very well done. I think it's made by Hideo Kojima, so if you're a fan of Hideo Kojima's work, definitely check out Zone of the Enders. Next we have Persona 3, JRPG by Atlas. Pretty popular. Turn-based, which is always nice. I love turn-based games. Next we have Star Wars Battlefront 2, one of my favorite games on the PS2, and I've spent a lot of time playing it. It's a third-person Star Wars shooter. Awesome game. Next is Tekken 4, same deal as Tekken 5, but, before that. Next is Ratchet & Clank Up Your Arsenal. Same deal as Ratchet & Clank 1, but, this is the third in the franchise. Next, I have Prism Chapter 1, The Dark Unicorn. This was bought as a joke. It's a third-person unicorn action game. It's really bad. Don't buy it, even though the cover looks hilarious. Just don't. Unless you are like me and just think it's hilarious and want to own it. Next is Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2, sequel to Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 1. It's kind of rare, but really fun game if you can get a hold of one. Let's see how many more. We got 3 more stacks here. Put them all close to the camera here. Okay, let's go with the one on my right first. Okay, so next we have Dark Angel, Vampire Apocalypse, Diablo style, hack and slash. Love those style games. Obviously, I have quite a number of them on the PS2, especially. Next is God of War. Don't really need to explain that, but it's an action game. So. Then we have Sly 2, Band of Thieves, sequel to Sly Cooper. Next is Orphan, Sign of Sorcery. This is a JRPG based on the anime. So if you're a fan of the anime, you got that. It's a launch title for PS2 as well. Next is Godai Elemental Force. It's a mediocre action RPG, so A lot of people seem to like that one too. I get a lot of crap for not liking it. Next is another game that I bought as a joke, and that is The Bible Game. It just looked hilarious. Look at that whale. But yeah, bought it as a joke. It's also terrible, so don't buy that one. Next is Jak 3, sequel to Jak 2. Same style game. And then we have Demon's Stone, which is an action RPG, sort of similar to the Two Towers games, but more RPG-like, which is really, really fun. And it's voiced by Patrick Stewart, so that's a reason enough to check it out. Next, I have Killzone, first-person shooter. Don't really need to explain it all that much. Alright, let's go on to this stack. We have The Simpsons Road Rage. This is a crazy taxi clone in the Simpsons universe. Kind of used to be a fan of The Simpsons. Not so much anymore. Next is Unreal Tournament. Hectic, Twitch-based, first-person shooter. Really, really fun. I love the Unreal games. I don't have many of them, though. Next is a rare game in my collection is Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. This is a park simulator, sort of similar to Zoo Tycoon, but dinosaurs. Got that one when it came out. It was a bargain game back then. Next is Savage Skies. Third-person dragon fighting flying game. Kind of awesome. Love that game. Very hard, though. Next is Jak and Daxter. Same as the other two. Next we have Maximo Ghosts to Glory. This is a third-person kind of like platformer game. Really difficult. Oops. Next is Legacy of Kain Blood Omen 2. This is a action-adventure story game in the Legacy of Kain series. I prefer the Soul Reavers as opposed to Blood Omen. Next is Burnout. Same deal as Burnout Revenge, but this is the first one, so very simplified. Next is first-person shooter, Red Faction by THQ. Kind of popular. It was pretty big back when it came out. Next is my last sports game, I believe. Yeah, my only other sports game, so I only have 3. Is Sega Soccer Slam, but this is more of like a arcadey game because you can basically there's a mode where you can just punch the soccer players, which is really cool. I really recommend that if you're a fan of soccer, even remotely. Next is Guitar Hero 2. Same deal as Guitar Hero 1, but 2. Next is Sly 3. Same deal as the other 2. Then we have Vex, which is a 3D platformer. Kind of cool. Got a little bit of charm to it. Almost done. 4 more left. Next is Sonic Unleashed. 3D Sonic game with werewolf mechanics, I guess. It was really weird. Next we have Deus Ex: The Conspiracy. This is a first-person shooter with stealth mechanics. Pretty fun. Next we have The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King. Same deal as the Two Towers, but this only follows The Return of the King. And last, we have Spider-Man. This is probably one of the best Spider-Man games ever. This and Spider-Man 2. But I don't have Spider-Man 2, but this one's pretty good. So yeah, that was my entire PS2 collection. All 137 games in my collection. Sorry this video took so long. I tried to go as fast as possible, but you know, as my collection grows, you only have so much time to do them. So let's do the classic style aerial view that I always end with, and there you go. There's the box games. Got the dot hacks over there separately, and then you got all of these. There you go. That was my entire PS2 collection. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any recommendations for games that I don't have, leave them in the comment box below. If you want to see a different collection that I have, leave it in the comment box below. I respond to all of my comments. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.